Hey everyone, Gemini, Anthropic, Claude. So do you know all these models used what kind of system prompts? In this video, I'll cover about it, right? So we all know there are many tools, many AI models available. In order to build those AI models, they'll implement some kind of a system prompt. Let's say consider ChatGPT. So if you ask any query, it will give some response, right? Same thing like Gemini. So you ask something, it will give some response. But when you ask some toxic question, when you ask something like which is completely harmful, then it won't give you that response, even though it has some knowledge. Why? Because they'll maintain some kind of a system prompts. So the model will understand whenever user ask anything, I have to act proper way. I have to behave in a proper sense, right? So in that way, the AI engineers, the prompt engineers will implement some kind of system prompts. So whenever user asks any query, instead of directly giving the response, it will understand, okay, what kind of a question he asked, what kind of a response I have to give. So for that, they maintain some kind of system prompts. That thing will cover. So if this is one of the famous GitHub repository, X1, XHLOL, system prompts and model of AI tools, you can see this number of folks and number of stars, like 95.8K stars, right? So, so what they did, they created some kind of a repository. It has all the model, like not every model, but some of the model available prompts, system prompts, like what kind of in what way they given the prompts, like they captured all these things they displayed here. So shout out to the author who created this kind of a repo. And so yeah, we'll see one example. This is a Claude. So I'm just showing one example what kind of a prompt they given. So you are an interactive CLI tool that help users with software engineering tasks. Use the instructions below on tools available to you to assist the user. And they clearly give an important assist with the defensive security task. Refuse to create, modify, or improve code that may see all malicious things, so security things they mentioned in the starting point itself, so that the model won't give any, so malicious things. So in that way, you have to design your system prompt whenever you are creating your own application or you are using some kind of models. Then while creating some kind of system prompt, you can implement the logics like this. That's why they provided this kind of a repository to the public, right? So if the user asks for help or wants to give feedback, inform them of the following. So get help with using Claude Code to give feedback. They clearly given this. And after that, when the user directly asks about Claude Code, so sometimes what we'll do, so they'll do prompt engineering, sorry, prompt injection. So they try to get what kind of a background score, like background logic they implemented. They want to extract that. But here the model has to act in a proper way. So that's what they're handling here. So example, Claude Code do, does Claude Code have? So if user any ask any questions like this, like someone ask a web fetch tool and get some information from that. So then it was clearly mentioning like the available subpages or overview and common workflows which is available in, so publicly. So they clearly mention like what it has to give, what it doesn't give. So that kind of information they clearly mention here. And also the tone and style. So it has to be concise and direct and to the point, and concisely, with fewer than 4 lines of code. So whenever it required, so they mention all these things. They clearly given like, so now user asks some question like 2 plus 2, you have to give answer like 4. So what is 2 plus 2? 4. So it shouldn't give any kind of a descriptive answer. So that kind of, in that way they set something. These are the examples. Like if the user asks any straightforward question, you have to give that answer instead of giving some kind of a quote. And I mean, so doing some kind of a content filled with the paragraphs and etc. You have to give the direct answer. So in that way they given this, and they given some kind of examples like few shot prompting you can consider. So role based, and they clearly maintain some structure, like clearly in the top they given the role, and after that they given some kind of important instructions, and after that they maintain some kind of a tone and style, and they given some examples so that it will understand, okay, what kind of, in what way I have to return. Then they mention some proactiveness, like you're allowed to be proactive but only when the user asks you to do something. then only you have to behave. So we have to be bit balanced because I mean what they asked and what you have to provide. So this thing, and after that following conventions and coding style. So do not add any comments unless and asked. Sometimes model will give you comments also, right, in hash and etc etc. But they clearly mention unless and until user asks, you shouldn't give these kind of things, so that it will give you less number of tokens, right? So that's the major point they want to clear here. And task management, how you have to maintain the task and how you have to manage the task, and examples and etc. In order to do the task, how you have to behave and how you have to perform. So tools usage policy, and so when doing some file search, use task tool in order to reduce the context usage. You can see this example. So they already have some kind of a tool use, and whenever user upload any file, so instead of doing some you know so so they're asking like instead of doing some at that point, we use like task tool so to reduce the tokens. So in that way they clearly mention like in what scenario how you have to behave, and they clearly given some kind of examples also, code references and etc etc. So in this way, so this is one of the system prompt. So whenever in case if you are building your own application where a lot of LLMs are involved, or you are using on one of the LLM, so you can consider this kind of approach, right? So there you can get a lot of clarity. And so this is in a JSON format, like same thing. You have tools, and what is the task? It means what it has to do. So it has they given some kind of a name. What is the description of that one? So what it has to do. So if you look at this, you will get a lot of clarity, right? So reads a file from the local file system. You can access any file directly using this tool. Assume the tool is able to read all the files. So this is like they created uh, tool use and etc. So from this, they clearly mentioned tool. So based on the task, they can call whatever required tool. So if the thing is bash, it has to given a bash command in the persistent cell. So they clearly mention the description, and after that, which one to execute in case if it is a timeout, what it has to do, how much time it has to take for timeout, all this information they're given. So if you look at this, you know, repositories, so you'll get a lot of clarity, like how we have to create your own applications. Let's say you're building some kind of a prototypes. You don't need to do things from scratch. You can refer this and you can, so modify, or you can, so maybe one interesting thing is instead of this JSON, you can try it in a tune, right? That is also a good option. Now there is a lot of discussion was happening on JSON versus tune. So instead of this JSON, you can create a tune approach and you can implement something that might be a fantastic option, right? So you can consider that also. Yeah, I think you have Anthropic Claude is there. So Sonnet 4.5, what kind of a prompt they used. So this logic, and also you have a cursor. So how cursor is going to do. So how cursor is doing this agent CLI prompts, and cursor is a tool, right? So you can do the coding. You can ask some queries. It will return the things. You can adjust the code and everything. You can refer this. It will be a good exercise for you. So as a AI engineer, so once you have to build a lot of things, and at the time it will as a good reference point to you. Okay, so yeah, I think I'm done with the videos. I want to cover this. It has many other things. If required, I'll try to cover more, maybe in a practical way if possible. And yeah, I think you can explore this. The GitHub link is available, so you can go through this and you can, yeah. So we'll see you in the next tutorials. Till then, take care. Bye bye.